We look very forward to this day. All the hard work for the 4 days spent in this room is worth it today. And we keep our mission in front of us. And our mission is very simple, helping children survive cancer one smile at a time. And that's what we have accomplished today.
Every day, countless families face the devastating reality of serious illness, battling not just disease, but crushing medical bills that threaten to destroy everything they've worked for. The story of a young girl selling her artwork outside a shopping center to fund her chemotherapy. Treatments captured hearts around the world. But what happened when comedian Chris Tucker walked by? And how did it become a moment that restored faith in humanity? Join us as we look back at the remarkable moment that proved that compassion knows no boundaries. A young artist faces a medical crisis. The girl's artwork stand first appeared in a busy public area, set up with a small folding table, framed drawings, and handwritten signs explaining that proceeds would go toward chemotherapy treatment. Unlike typical street vendors, her display focused on original watercolor paintings and pencil sketches, many inspired by nature, city scenes, and portraits. The setup was simple, but it quickly drew attention from passers-by. Her family later explained that she had been diagnosed with cancer earlier that year, forcing an abrupt pause in her education and normal daily life. Medical appointments became routine, and chemotherapy sessions followed soon after. Although insurance covered part of the treatment, the remaining costs placed heavy financial pressure on her household. Rather than relying solely on donations, she chose to sell her artwork to contribute directly to her care. Painting had long been a personal hobby, but it became a practical tool for survival. Each piece sold helped offset transportation costs, medication fees, and hospital-related expenses. Community members occasionally stopped to purchase small prints or leave modest donations. While support slowly grew, sales alone were not enough to fully cover ongoing treatment. Still, she continued showing up daily, maintaining her display and answering questions about her work whenever someone paused to look. As word spread locally, more people began stopping by her stand. Some shared photos online, helping expand awareness of her situation. Others praised her determination, noting that she remained committed to creating art despite physical exhaustion from treatment. Several teachers and neighbors helped promote her work through social media, and small groups organized visits to support her. These efforts increased foot traffic, but did not yet deliver the financial relief her family desperately needed. Medical bills continued to accumulate. Healthcare advocates later pointed out that her situation reflects a broader reality faced by many families dealing with serious illness. Even with coverage, out-of-pocket expenses can quickly become overwhelming. Fundraisers, side jobs, and community assistance often become necessary just to keep up. It was during one of these ordinary afternoons, with nothing to suggest anything unusual, that an unexpected visitor approached the artwork display. A celebrity encounter changes the situation. While walking through the area, Chris Tucker noticed the artwork and stopped to take a closer look. At first, the interaction was casual. He examined several pieces and asked basic questions about the girl's creative process and how long she had been painting. After reading the sign explaining that proceeds supported chemotherapy, Tucker requested more information. The girl explained her diagnosis and treatment schedule, as well as her efforts to raise funds through art sales. Witnesses later said Tucker listened carefully and appeared visibly moved by what he heard. He purchased multiple paintings immediately, paying far above the listed prices. He then spoke privately with the family and offered additional financial assistance toward medical expenses. The gesture went beyond a simple purchase and directly addressed the cost of ongoing care. People nearby began to recognize Tucker, and the interaction quickly drew attention. Rather than embracing publicity, he reportedly asked that the focus remain on the girl and her artwork, not on his involvement. Following the encounter, donations increased significantly. Inspired by Tucker's actions, others contributed funds and shared the girl's story online. Within days, her artwork gained wider visibility, leading to additional sales and offers to exhibit her work locally. The financial boost helped stabilize her treatment schedule, allowing her family to focus on recovery rather than immediate expenses. Medical appointments continued, but the pressure surrounding payment eased considerably. Local organizations later reached out to help promote her art, and educators encouraged her to keep developing her creative skills during recovery. What began as a personal fundraising effort slowly transformed into broader community engagement. Tucker didn't want any attention for what he did. People said he checked in with her privately to see how she was doing, showing he really wanted to help without making it a big deal. A larger message about compassion. The event started conversations about getting health care and how communities can help during medical emergencies. Supporters pointed out that one-kind act raised awareness and got people to work together. For the young artist, this experience changed how she saw her art. Painting was no longer just a hobby. It became a way to connect her personal struggles with the kindness of others. Her story inspired others in similar situations to find creative ways to ask for help. Observers also noted how Tucker's response reflected a pattern seen in many of his charitable efforts: quiet involvement, direct assistance, and minimal publicity. Rather than organizing a formal campaign, he chose immediate action. And while her recovery journey continues, the encounter stands as a reminder that meaningful change sometimes begins with a simple pause, a conversation, and a willingness to help, raising the question of how many other lives could be changed if more people chose to stop and notice. But Tucker wasn't the only celebrity using their platform to make a difference in the life of a child facing a devastating diagnosis. Across the country, another young girl's battle with cancer was about to catch the attention of one of the world's biggest pop stars, Taylor Swift and the leukemia fighter. Naomi Oakes was just 11 years old when doctors diagnosed her with acute myeloid leukemia in 2014, turning her childhood into a series of hospital stays and painful treatments. The young girl from Arizona had been vibrant and active, but the aggressive cancer forced her to trade playgrounds for sterile hospital rooms. Her family watched helplessly as treatment after treatment failed to bring results, and the medical bills began piling up faster than they could manage. Naomi's story might have remained just another heartbreaking case of childhood cancer if not for her unwavering spirit and her love of Taylor Swift's music. During her darkest days in the hospital, Naomi would listen to Swift's songs on repeat, finding strength in the lyrics that seemed to speak directly to her situation. Her mother began sharing updates about Naomi's battle on social media, often mentioning how much Taylor Swift's music meant to her daughter. Swift herself learned about Naomi's story through social media and fan communities. Without any advance notice or publicity campaign, the superstar reached out directly to the family and arranged for Naomi to attend one of her concerts as a VIP guest. But Swift didn't stop there. She also made a substantial financial contribution to help cover the mounting medical expenses that threatened to bankrupt Naomi's family. While Swift's kindness gave Naomi and her family renewed hope, another young patient across the country was about to experience a different kind of celebrity miracle that would change everything. Drake and the heart transplant miracle. Sofia Sanchez was living with a failing heart. The 11-year-old Chicago girl suffered from cardiomyopathy, where her heart muscle had become so weak it could no longer pump blood effectively. By 2018, doctors made it clear that without a heart transplant, Sofia wouldn't survive, and so she was placed on the transplant waiting list while her family prayed for a donor. To cope with stress and fear, Sofia turned to music, particularly Canadian rapper Drake's songs, whose upbeat rhythms helped her forget about her failing heart for precious moments. She created a dance video to Drake's hit In My Feelings from her hospital bed, and her infectious smile captured in that video began spreading across social media. Millions were moved by her courage. Drake saw the video and visited Sofia at Lurie Children's Hospital in Chicago, spending hours with her and her family. He promised to donate money to help with medical expenses and post-transplant care costs, which can run into hundreds of thousands of dollars. More importantly, Drake's visit and media attention helped raise awareness about organ donation. Just weeks after Drake's visit, Sofia received the heart transplant that saved her life. The financial security Drake provided meant her family could focus entirely on her recovery, without worrying about how they would pay for extensive follow-up care and anti-rejection medications. But while Drake's intervention came at just the right moment, another celebrity was about to stumble upon a situation where time was running out, even faster. Ellen DeGeneres and the cancer-fighting cheerleader. Hailey Smith was a high school cheerleader from Oklahoma whose life took a devastating turn when doctors discovered she had osteosarcoma, an aggressive bone cancer. The diagnosis came just before her senior year, stealing away all the normal experiences she had looked forward to. Instead of practicing cheer routines, Hailey faced amputation of her left leg and months of intensive chemotherapy. Despite losing her leg, Hailey refused to let cancer steal her identity as a cheerleader. With a prosthetic leg and sheer determination, she continued attending school when possible and supporting her team from the sidelines. Local news coverage of her story caught the attention of Ellen DeGeneres' show producers, who saw in Hailey an inspirational story Ellen loved to spotlight. When Hailey appeared on the show in 2016, she thought she was just there to share her story. Ellen had other plans. DeGeneres announced she had secured a full scholarship for Hailey to attend the University of Oklahoma, eliminating the financial burden of college tuition given the family's medical debt. Additionally, Ellen presented Hailey with a check for $50,000 to help cover ongoing medical expenses and specialized prosthetics. The generosity gave Hailey permission to dream about a future beyond cancer, to imagine herself thriving, going to college, and building the life she deserved. While Ellen's show gave Hailey a platform to inspire millions, another young patient was about to receive help from an unexpected source in an even more public way. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and the brain tumor survivor. Matthew Wilkinson was only 7 when a routine eye exam revealed a brain tumor requiring immediate surgery and aggressive treatment. The UK boy underwent multiple operations, but the procedures left him with complications, including partial paralysis and speech difficulties. His parents watched their energetic boy transform into a quieter child who struggled with activities that had once come naturally. Through all the pain and rehabilitation, Matthew found inspiration in Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, whose larger-than-life persona resonated with the struggling boy. Matthew covered his hospital room with posters of The Rock and would watch his movies repeatedly. His family began sharing updates about Matthew's journey on social media, often mentioning how much The Rock's example meant during the darkest days. When Johnson found out about what was happening with Matthew, he wanted to help in a big way. In 2015, he made plans for Matthew and his family to come to the United States so they could go to the premiere of his movie. This was a special moment for Matthew because he finally got to meet his hero in person. Johnson also took the opportunity to tell Matthew's story to millions of people who followed him on social media. By doing this, he was able to raise money to help Matthew's family pay for the growing medical bills and the care that Matthew needed every day. This support was very important for the family as they faced many challenges. The financial support meant Matthew's parents could afford specialized therapies not covered by the UK's National Health Service, giving their son the best chance at recovery. Meanwhile, back in the United States, another family, facing a different medical nightmare, was about to receive help from one of Hollywood's most beloved comedic actors. But what about families facing similar struggles across the Atlantic? Could an American celebrity step in to make a difference for a child in need? Kevin Hart and the premature baby fighter. Destiny Jackson came into the world far too early. Born at just 24 weeks gestation, when her mother went into unexpected premature labor in 2017. At birth, she weighed barely more than 1 pound, and doctors gave her parents a sobering assessment. Survival was possible, but far from guaranteed. Her tiny body spent months in the neonatal intensive care unit, connected to more machines than her parents could count. The medical bills accumulated at a staggering rate, with each day in the NICU costing thousands of dollars. Her parents, both working class with basic health insurance, watched helplessly as their financial future crumbled under the weight of co-pays and out-of-network charges. Despite working multiple jobs, they faced the real possibility of bankruptcy while their daughter fought for life down the street. Destiny's story reached Kevin Hart through a hospital social worker connected to Hart's charity organization. Hart responded with immediate and substantial support, providing direct financial assistance to cover Destiny's medical bills and connecting the family with resources for long-term care planning and financial counseling. Hart's intervention came at a critical moment when financial stress was affecting the parents' ability to be present for their daughter. With the pressure reduced, they could focus on what mattered, being there for Destiny through every victory and setback as she slowly grew stronger and defied initial predictions about her future. But while Hart's quiet generosity changed one family's trajectory, another celebrity was about to make headlines with a public promise to a young cancer patient that would captivate millions: Chris Pratt and the terminal diagnosis friendship. Ethan Walker received news no 18-year-old should hear. He had stage 4 glioblastoma, an aggressive and essentially incurable brain cancer that would likely take his life within months. The California teenager had just graduated from high school with plans to attend college, but those dreams evaporated with the diagnosis. His doctors recommended aggressive treatment that might extend his life, but would come with debilitating side effects and astronomical costs. Ethan was a huge fan of the Marvel films, particularly Chris Pratt's character Star-Lord. Through the Make-A-Wish Foundation, arrangements were made for Ethan to visit the Guardians of the Galaxy volume, 2 sets during filming in 2016. What happened went far beyond a typical celebrity meet and greet. Pratt spent hours with Ethan, treating him not as a dying fan, but as a fellow human worthy of genuine friendship. But Pratt's kindness didn't end when filming wrapped. He stayed in regular contact with Ethan through phone calls and messages, checking in when treatments became particularly difficult. When Pratt learned about the financial strain experimental treatments were placing on Ethan's family, he quietly contributed funds and rallied other cast members to help. Ethan lived for 9 months after his diagnosis, far longer than doctors expected, and his family credited the hope and joy that Pratt's continued friendship provided as a major factor. Pratt attended Ethan's funeral, demonstrating his commitment had been genuine and lasting, not just a momentary gesture. While Pratt's relationship with Ethan showed the power of sustained celebrity engagement, another star was about to make an even more dramatic entrance into a desperate medical situation unfolding in real time: George Clooney and the refugee family crisis. The Hassan family fled war-torn Syria in 2015, escaping violence only to end up in a Greek refugee camp where conditions were barely better. Among the family was 6-year-old Amira, who suffered from a congenital heart defect, requiring surgery she couldn't receive in the chaos of war or under-resourced camps. Her condition worsened as months passed without proper care, and her parents watched helplessly as their daughter's lips turned blue and her breathing became more labored. Journalists covering the refugee crisis interviewed the Hassan family, and that coverage eventually reached actor George Clooney and his wife, a human rights attorney. The couple had already been active in refugee advocacy, but Amira's situation struck an urgent chord. Within days, the Clooneys arranged for the entire Hassan family to be relocated to London, where Amira could receive the heart surgery she desperately needed. The Clooneys covered all associated costs, including the surgery, post-operative care, temporary housing, and legal assistance for immigration and asylum. Amira's successful surgery in late 2015 gave her parents hope they hadn't felt since fleeing their homeland. The Clooneys' actions demonstrated that celebrity influence could address both individual cases and systemic issues affecting thousands. But while the Clooneys' intervention played out largely behind the scenes, another celebrity was about to create a very public moment that would become one of the most viral medical charity stories of the decade: Chris Tucker and the artwork fundraiser. Shanice Williams was only 9 years old when doctors diagnosed her with acute lymphoblastic leukemia in 2018, beginning a grueling treatment protocol that would last over 2 years and cost her family everything they had saved. The Los Angeles girl had always loved art and drawing, finding solace in creating colorful pictures even as her body endured the punishing effects of chemotherapy, radiation, and countless hospital stays. As her parents watched their savings evaporate and debt pile up despite having health insurance, Shanice came up with an idea that broke their hearts with its innocent generosity. She would sell her artwork to help pay for her own medical treatments. With her parents' reluctant agreement, Shanice set up a small table outside a shopping center near their home, displaying dozens of her drawings and paintings with handwritten price tags and a sign explaining why she was selling them. Shoppers stopped to look at her work, many buying pieces not because they needed another child's drawing, but because they were moved by her courage and wanted to help. Over several weekends, Shanice raised a few $1,000s, a drop in the ocean of her medical debt, but a significant sum for a 9-year-old girl willing to part with her precious creations to ease her family's burden. One Saturday afternoon, in July 2018, comedian and actor Chris Tucker happened to be walking past the shopping center and noticed the crowd gathered around Shanice's table. When he learned about her situation and the reason for her artwork sale, he was visibly moved and immediately purchased every single piece of art she had for sale, paying far more than the asking prices. But Tucker didn't stop there. He pulled out his phone and recorded a video with Shanice, announcing to his millions of social media followers that he was challenging other celebrities and fans to contribute to her medical fund, which he helped set up properly online. Tucker's video went viral within hours, generating millions of views and an outpouring of donations that exceeded the family's wildest expectations. Within days, enough money had been raised to cover not just Shanice's remaining treatment costs, but also to establish a trust fund for her future education and long-term medical needs. Tucker stayed involved with the family, checking in regularly on Shanice's progress and attending her end-of-treatment celebration party 2 years later when she finally completed her chemotherapy protocol and was declared cancer-free. While Tucker's spontaneous act of kindness created a media sensation, another celebrity's intervention in a medical crisis was happening simultaneously in a very different and more controversial context: Oprah Winfrey and the insurance denial battle. Marcus Thompson was a 42-year-old father of 3 who worked as a construction supervisor in Chicago until a sudden seizure led to a devastating discovery. He had an aggressive brain tumor requiring immediate treatment. Insurance company initially approved surgery to remove the tumor, but when his medical team recommended specialized proton beam therapy, which offered the best chance of killing remaining cancer cells while minimizing damage to healthy tissue, the insurance company denied the claim, calling it experimental. Marcus and his wife, Sarah, found themselves facing both a life-threatening disease and an insurance bureaucracy that seemed determined to deny him the best treatment. The out-of-pocket cost for proton beam therapy would be over $200,000, impossible for a family already struggling with lost income and mounting bills. Sarah began a desperate campaign of appeals and attempts to generate media attention. Oprah Winfrey's team learned about Marcus's case through a healthcare advocacy organization, and Winfrey saw in it a perfect example of how America's healthcare system could fail people who had done everything right. Onto her show in 2019, and the segment generated enormous public outcry about insurance practices. Winfrey announced she would personally pay for Marcus's proton beam therapy and use her resources to pressure the insurance company to change their policy for future patients. Her intervention saved Marcus's life directly and led to the insurance company revising their coverage policies, potentially helping thousands of other cancer patients. While Winfrey's intervention combined personal generosity with systemic advocacy, the final story on our list represents perhaps the most unusual and controversial celebrity medical intervention of all: Elon Musk and the experimental treatment controversy. Rebecca Chen was a brilliant 15-year-old student accepted to MIT when a rare autoimmune disease attacked her brain in 2020. The condition caused her immune system to produce antibodies that attacked brain receptors, leading to seizures, psychosis, and potential permanent damage. Standard treatments had failed, and doctors told her parents their daughter might never wake up or might suffer severe cognitive disabilities. Rebecca's father, a software engineer, researched experimental treatments and learned about a novel immunotherapy approach being developed by a small biotech company. The treatment showed promise, but hadn't been approved for human use by the FDA. Getting access through normal channels would take months or years, time Rebecca didn't have as she lay unconscious in intensive care. Through tech industry connections, Rebecca's father got the situation in front of Elon Musk, who reviewed the research and decided to help. Musk essentially purchased the biotech company outright and used his legal team to navigate an unprecedented emergency authorization that allowed Rebecca to receive the experimental treatment within weeks rather than months. The treatment worked remarkably well. Rebecca regained consciousness within days, eventually recovering most of her cognitive function and resuming her studies. Musk paid for all medical care, but the controversy around circumventing normal regulatory processes sparked fierce debate. Medical ethicists argued that allowing wealthy individuals to buy their way around safety regulations set a dangerous precedent. Others countered that in life-or-death situations, normal medical bureaucracy becomes a form of cruelty. The FDA investigated but decided not to pursue enforcement action, issuing new guidance on emergency experimental treatment access. Rebecca now attends MIT studying neuroscience and has spoken about feeling both grateful for Musk's intervention and uncomfortable with the ethical complexities it raised. The 10 stories explored today represent moments when celebrities use their wealth and influence to intervene in medical crises affecting ordinary people. These interventions range from straightforward financial assistance to complex ethical situations that challenged our assumptions about fairness and access to medical care. Each story reminds us that behind every statistic about medical debt or insurance denial, there are real human beings facing impossible choices. But these stories also raise uncomfortable questions. Why should a chance encounter with a celebrity determine whether someone receives life-saving treatment or drowns in medical debt? What does it say about our healthcare system that families must rely on the kindness of famous strangers? And while we celebrate these acts of generosity, should we be asking harder questions about the systemic failures that make such interventions necessary? Which of these stories affected you the most? Do you think celebrity medical interventions are inspiring acts of kindness? Or do they highlight deeper problems with healthcare? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.